Hello everyone, DMFF here, and today we will be talking about my thoughts of OB16 and what I believe will be healthy changes for the game going forward into OB17 and future patches of Realm Royale. With balance changes to Mage and Hunter primarily, and the base cooldown reductions, I will start by saying that every class is about equal in power level, with exception of Assassin. We'll go into this little bit more in a little while. But overall, patch OB16 was a step in the right direction. But first, let's start talking about some changes that I think should be made within the next patch, or the one afterwards. Or maybe a combination of both. First and foremost, let's talk about swap speed. I really feel like a lot of these swap speed increases were too harsh, and each weapon that received a swap speed nerf should be adjusted to the following speed. Stone Staff equip time decreased from 0.7 seconds to 0.65 seconds, or it could stay at 0.7 seconds. I'd rather see it at 0.65, but we'll see. Throwing Axe equip time decreased from 0.9 seconds to 0.75 seconds. It should be the warrior's mid-range weapon, and should be the lightest of them in my opinion, so it should have the least amount of swap speed. Ice Staff was hit really hard and had a swap speed of 1.1 this patch. I think it should be reduced to 1.0 seconds. Arbalest equip time decreased from 0.85 to 0.7 seconds. It should be more in line with Slug Rifle. Heavy Hammer decrease from 0.85 seconds to 0.8. That way it isn't so slow. Sniper Rifle equip time needs to be decreased from 1.0 seconds to 0.8 seconds, because that was actually a really big nerf on the Sniper Rifle. And again, the Shotgun equip time needs to be decreased from 0.9 seconds to 0.8 seconds. It was a substantial nerf, nerfing it to 0.9 seconds. I understand why they don't want swapping with the Slug Rifle, but I think 0.8 would be a pretty healthy spot for it. I actually feel as if that the Plasma Launcher, the Slug Rifle, and the Longsword all have fairly adjusted speeds. The Longsword getting equipped at 1 second is actually a good change for the weapon because it's very good up close. You should have it out already. If you want to swap to it, it's gonna, be difficult to do in the middle of a fight because it does a lot of damage. Next, let's talk about some weapons that need some changes. We're talking buffs and reworks. This is how I feel things should go. The Assault Rifle. I think the bloom should be reduced slightly overall, like aiming down sights and not down sights. And the damage should be buffed to 80, 85, 90, 95. So one increment. Bolt Staff, I believe, needs a rework entirely to a weapon that has no damage fall off. I feel as if it should be implemented in this regard. It should have an 8-shot clip that shoots 2 shots per second with damage of 360 and 400 for each rarity. Keep reload time the same and increase the swap speed from 0.6 seconds to 0.75 seconds. Burst Rifle, increase the damage 1 increment, so 120, 130, 140, 150. Arbalest, increase the damage to 525 and 575, and increase the fire rate to 1.4 seconds. Ice Staff, I believe, needs about a 5% damage increase. I feel as if this damage nerf was a little too much with the swap speed, and believe that the damage should now be 570 and 660. I believe that these numbers are more fair and actually make the legendary more worthwhile damage-wise over the purple. Increase the damage of the LMG to 140. And now we get to something a little different. Let's talk about the Shredder. The difference between the Epic and Legendary Shredder is very large, and balancing it proves extremely difficult. I think it deserves to be repurposed entirely, and we're going to take the Shredder away from the Assassin and give the Assassin a new weapon. The Shuriken is what I'm calling it. You could call it the Kunai, throwing knife, whatever you want it. But Shuriken, New assassin weapon, give it the same projectile speed, bullet drop, and damage fall off as the Shredder. It has infinite ammo with a fire rate of 3 shots per second, with damage of 300 and 330 damage, with the fire element attached to the legendary. Rework toxicology talent into Shuriken now deals 25 damage every 0.2 seconds for 0.6 seconds, giving it almost like a Shredder-like damage, like they're poison-dipped knives or poison-dipped Shuriken. I believe that would make for a healthier weapon. But I said we should repurpose that Shredder, right? So we should remove the SMG from the game entirely and replace it with the Shredder as a classless weapon. But it only comes in all 4 rarities, or we could make it only 1 rarity and have it drop from a drop. But let's have it go classless for now with all 4 rarities. So here's the damage numbers that we could do for this. It's a little different with the Shredder because it is broken up into 2 parts. There's an initial shot damage, and then there's damage done every 0.2 seconds for 0.6 seconds. So what we should do is 80, 90, 100, 110 for the initial shot for each rarity, and then the 3 ticks of damage should be 30, 35, 40, 45 for each rarity. Give it the same shots per second, same reload as the Shredder currently, so 2.86 shots per second and 1.4 seconds for reload. The pistol was just added to the game. Basically the old Venom pistol art and model, but is a hit scan weapon. I think this is a really decent weapon, and it has no damage drop-off at all. Damage numbers, for those who don't know what it is, are 155, 170, 185, and 200 for each rarity. Has a 5 per second semi-auto fire rate. Now we're going to move to some general things about weapons. Let's move to the increased headshot damage talents. I believe they're not very good. People don't use them, especially with the wonky hitboxes with the heads. I suggest removing these talents. Replace them with a 15% reload speed increase and a 15% damage bonus. And that would be for like arbalests and sniper rifle. That could be very viable. Also, the arbalest and the longbow need to swap elements. Getting slowed by a very long-range weapon is too powerful, and it makes the longbow still the best long-range weapon in the game. Give the longbow lightning, like the sniper rifle or slug, and the arbalest frost to help bring the arbalest into usage. Now let's move on to cooldowns and abilities in general. While the cooldown change was a step in the right direction, I still believe cooldowns should be decreased by another increment. There is also a pretty large power balance in abilities right now, and I feel there needs to be some changes. Classless abilities that need changes. Overall, I feel as if each legendary-only classless ability should have a 4-second cooldown reduction, or 1 incremental reduction for the firebomb. The turret is really underpowered. Increase the damage per shot to 200, and increase the health of it slightly so it doesn't die to everything. Shielding Potion is a straight-up worse shielding shout. Like, as a person who doesn't have a class, it might just be better off to get the Shielding Shout. Because you can just shout, you don't have to aim with it. You should make the Shielding Potion worthwhile, like, to take as somebody who isn't a warrior. Increase the shield health to 700, or increase the duration of it to 4 seconds or 5 seconds. Warrior abilities feel great, honestly. I feel like every single ability of theirs is viable, and I don't think they need any changes or buffs. Hunter abilities, Flare and Blast Arrow are great, but a certain trap needs our love. Proximity Trap needs a talent change or buff. We could make the current talent also have 2 active at once. That would make people want to run it. Kind of like how the old legendary was. Assassin abilities, though. Oh boy, these are some of the worst abilities in the game. Smokescreen really doesn't need any changes because you can utilize it with Blink to reposition, and I like Smokescreen how it is, but these other two need changes. Concussion Grenade is basically a worse version of the Blast Arrow. Damage should be 400 across the board of every rarity. Change the talent into Explosive Grenade. No longer knocks back, but explodes on impact with a 250 extra damage and an additional 4 ticks of 20 fire damage over 0.8 seconds. Sensor Drone should be changed into Trackers, like Tracking Knife or Tracker's Knife or something like that, which is basically a throwing blade that throws similarly to the current Sensor Drone. It sticks to surfaces and players, but it deals 200 damage to players hit. Make teammates able to see the revealed players and increase the duration to 4, 5, 6, and 7 seconds for each rarity. Give it the same cooldown as Sensor Drone as well. Mage abilities. Ice Block and Healing Station are great, and I don't think they need changes currently. But Ice Wall needs to just go away entirely. It's not a very good ability. Barrier is just a way better version of Ice Wall, and Ice Wall just really isn't that great right now, especially with only one combat ability being used. It should be replaced with Fireball, but a weakened version of Fireball with a smaller hitbox and smaller projectile size. Call it the Firebolt. Firebolt does damage of 300, 400, 500, and 600 with a cooldown of 24, 20, 16, and 12 after the cooldown increment decrease. If they don't do that, then it would be 28, 24, 20, and 16. The talent could be Frostbolt, so the ability slows for 30%. Instead, maybe change the color or something. So, that was a lot of stuff that I could go into. This is how I feel things should be changed. But, I mean, what does everyone else think? I realize this is a pretty good chunk of content. But I think it could be implemented within the coming weeks. Please let me know what everyone thinks of these changes, and if you think that more changes or different changes need to be made. Let's have HI-REZ hear our voice. Post and feedback on Steam, post on the Reddit. They're listening. Go to the Discord. They are listening to us. Alright, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope I see you next time.